Hello everyone. Dumelang, sanbanane le kae. Tonight is a cold night, and tonight I'm here. We are continuing raising the issues that we are facing as young people, the issues that we are facing as students. So tonight I just have a massive man. One time when I listened to him, he uttered nothing less or other than the truth and wisdom. So he's a very powerful man, a man who has very knowledge in a lot of things, has a knowledge in the struggle that we're facing as young people. So this is the man that I love, that I adore a lot. This is the man that whenever he speaks, he makes sure that you are perplexed, you are challenged to think outside the box. This is the man that whenever he speaks, you start to see things in a different way, and you thought things were not good as I thought they are. This is the man that whenever he speaks, he makes sure that you are politically aware of the struggle that as young people were facing. So tonight I have a very powerful man. He's Kamohelo Chauke. He's a team member of the School Representative Council Logistics here at Wits. So I've just asked him to come and join me tonight. Tonight is a big day. As we all know, today is a very big day in the history of South Africa. 27 years ago, this is the day for the first time black people in South Africa got their freedom. This is the day for the first time people in their 60s, some in their 70s, some in their 80s, some even in their 90s got the chance to see what freedom really is. To them, it was just a myth. Whenever in 1975, when Mozambique won their freedom, they got encouraged to say someday we will win our freedom too. When Ghana won their freedom, when Zimbabwe also got their freedom, South Africans were encouraged to say one day we are going to defeat these atrocities, these oppressors. So whenever I see this day and look back to where our forefathers are coming from, I'm just humbled to live in time like this. You see, times where we experience, though we don't have as much as we want, as much as we cry out to the state, but the little that we have, I really appreciate it a lot. So this is the powerful day. This is the day that all we have been waiting for. A Freedom Day. Happy Freedom Day to everyone who's joining me, every South African all around the world. Whether you are in US, in Australia, wherever you are, as a South African, I say Happy Freedom Day. Cherish days like this because our freedom, it wasn't free. This is one of the lessons that Dr. Temba Vilakazi, my high school teacher, taught me to say, son, our freedom wasn't free. It cost a lot of sacrifices, bloodshed along the way. People had to sacrifice their life for us to be where we are tonight or today. Really appreciate. So I would like my brother Kamohelo to request me to add you in the live broadcast. We are ready. Can you just request me so that I can add you in the broadcast and we can continue? Tonight we are moving powerfully and massively so. We are not stopping. We are facing a lot of problems. We are facing a lot of difficulties as young people, and sometimes it feels so bad to see that our government is not committed enough to help us or to listen to what we have to say to them. Sometimes even when we submit a petition They will just take it and say, we will respond in this number of days. We don't know whether they get in their offices, they just put the petition in the dustbin. We don't know. We don't know what happens to it, whether they ban it or not. So these are the leaders that we have. Leaders that we go and cry to them and they say, we will help you, just give us some time. And we put tools down, we take some time and we calm down and we think, yeah, now they have had us, not knowing that they're just playing with us. Just a matter to say, hey, you stop what you're doing, you see. So my brother can just request me. I'm ready to add you so that we can proceed. Can you kindly request me there so that we can proceed? Tonight is a very powerful night. And I would like to thank everyone who decided to join me. I can see I have Posito is here. I have Kusho. I have Ayanda Londeka. I have Black Consciousness. Hey, yeah. Black Consciousness. It's a very powerful term, that one. It reminds me of the late leader, Steve Biko. It's a very massive leader, that one. It's the one who introduced this idea in South Africa of Black Consciousness. It was there in America. It was there in America. And he decided to adopt the same concept or theory or ideology to fight. And the important thing about Steve Biko, guys, he initiated this idea while he was a student. He was a young person, Steve Biko, by that time. He started this thing of Black Consciousness. He went out there trying to challenge young people to be politically aware about their struggle. And unfortunately, they brutally murdered him. They murdered him. They killed him, if I may put it that way. They killed Steve Biko, and he died. He died because of the severe injuries that he suffered on his way to the hospital. He just died in that car. Died. So that's where we're coming from. People were just being killed easily, and the state will just come, hey, so and so he threw himself off the window, so and so did this and that, and it wasn't a big deal. No one would question the state. And today, as much as we are where we are, we see freedom. We really appreciate it. We really appreciate it. Really appreciate, and for the fact that there is no civil war, we will appreciate it. So it's a great achievement. It's a great achievement. My brother, can you request me there? And I don't see you. My brother, can you request me there? I don't see you. I don't see you, and I don't see him. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on. Yeah, I can. Yeah, can you just request? Say that on your side it says request. Can you just press that option to request, my brother, so that I can add you? Can you say? Let me try this. I'm trying. See that you are here. I sent you a request there. Can you accept it? Can you accept it? I'm waiting for you to accept it. This is a powerful man. He's a very massive man. Has a lot of wisdom, and tonight we are ready to milk it from him. Ready to milk it. Wisdom from him. Can you request, because I'm trying to request to add you so that you can be part of the broadcast. So I don't know what's going on. Can you request me on your side? can you request me there on your side? Because I'm struggling here. I'm struggling. Yes, if you check there, it doesn't shows you that I'm requesting you so that you can be part of the broadcast. Can you just accept that request? I sent you a request there. Or if maybe you are experiencing, can you just leave and rejoin? When you rejoin, it will say request and just press request there. Can you leave and rejoin? I can leave and rejoin. We will see what happens. If you leave and rejoin, it will give you that option to say request, and you just press request so that you can proceed. The devil is a liar. Devil is a liar. There we go. There we go. There we go. Here he comes. Here he comes. Here he comes. Yeah. Good evening, my brother. Can maybe try to put your phone straight so that I can see you. I think you have put your phone vertical. Maybe can you try it horizontal so that I can see you straight? Yeah. Yes, it's fine now. Good evening, my. Good evening.
Sure. Good evening, Marcel. How are you?
I'm fine. I'm doing very much okay. I feel humbled tonight to spend this special day. It's a Freedom Day. Happy Freedom Day, by the way.
Hey, it's not as happy as it's supposed to be, my brother. We're not free as of yet. But thank you for the message.
Yeah. We're not free yet, but we are getting there. It's a process, this thing of freedom. So anyway,
Yeah.
I've tried to introduce you the way I can, but you are the only one who knows who Kamohelo Chauke is. Can you maybe try to introduce yourself, my brother?
Okay, sure. My name is Kamohelo Chauke, born and bred in Orange Farm, south of Johannesburg. I'm the former secretary of the Wits Student Command, and I'm the current SRC logistics officer. Right. So Kamohelo is a South African story, if you can say, from the township straight to university. But unfortunately, university has showed me such a tough time to a point where I've been forced into or called into activism. So I think that's how we crossed paths, me and you, my brother, is through activism and seeing me on the ground in the recent protests that have been happening at Wits University. So, in a nutshell, that is Kamohelo Chauke, a son and nephew, a brother, a friend to many. Sure.
Yeah, I really appreciate. There we are today in 2021, 27 April. It's a Freedom Day according to our calendar. It's a Freedom Day. Many years ago, this day was first celebrated in 1995. So we have so many challenges. That's why tonight we decided to say our topic, it says free education now. So we are just saying to the state to say, can you please listen to us as part of our rights? The Constitution, it says that every child has a right to education, and we cannot attain that education if we don't have equal opportunities to education. In saying that, I mean to say we cannot have an access to education if we don't have free education. So we are facing a lot of problems as young people from primary, high school to tertiary. we are facing a lot of problems. You know, we are trying so hard to be successful. At a very young age, we encounter problems whereby we have to walk miles and miles to school from primary. We go to secondary. We have to walk still to school. And we come to university. There we are again. We don't have funding. We have been struggling all these years, and now they have been telling us education is the key to success. And they are not backing us. We are trying our level best. So we are here tonight to say, please, can you just give us this free education, so that this is the only way for us to be free from poverty. We have no other means. Is by us being graduate. So in saying that, my brother, I would like to say what kind of language our state understand when it comes to protest, because we have been crying for years. We have seen the likes of civil must fall and where we are. So what kind of language our government understands when it comes to protest?
It's violence, my brother. It's violence. And I think you have said all the problems that are in the higher learning institutions and that are in basic education as of yet. I don't know if the interview can continue because you just summarized everything. But but the language that our government and most institutions understand is protest. And a protest is not...
Oh my God. Oh my goodness. My network. Oh yeah. My network.
Worthy to be on the TV screen. Our media will come only when we're in the process of fighting universities, when the protests have become violent, when there's police, when there's public security and all of that. So it shows that the country is very desensitized to many issues that we're facing. You go to townships, you go to different communities. People are protesting day in, day out about basic rights. They're protesting about electricity. They're protesting about water, housing, sanitation. They're protesting about a lot of things. And before the protest actually starts, there's conversations that happen. But many a times the conversations are not taken seriously. So South Africa is a country where only violence and protest and when they see violence, that is when they start to listen and see a cause, right, as just. And also as activists, I think we have already enacted that thing. We know that a protest is not going to be taken serious if there's no shaking of institutions of higher learning, if there's no shaking in the normality of what happens in the country, then nothing is going to be heard, right? Our government is so desensitized. People are so desensitized to just hearing about issues. Something needs to bend. There needs to be violence in order for our government to listen. But hopefully going forward, we will get a government that is receptive to the needs of people. We will get a government that will, prioritize engagement and try to solve the issues of the people with engagement. We will have universities that will want to listen to the Student Representative Council, that will want to listen to the different student formations inside campus, that will want to listen to students. Even if one student goes there alone and says, I have a problem of outstanding debt, the university should be able to assist that student before we even mass mobilize and come and fight against the university. So it's very unnecessary, but the universities themselves and the government themselves only listen to violence. And we are very prepared, my brother, to give them what they want in order for us to be listened to, because it is violent for us to not get what we want. It is violent for students to be turned back because they don't have money. It is violent for the government to not give the people of the country basic needs. It is violent for the Ministry of Higher Education and Training to not, look into the needs that students have in different campuses across the country. So they listen to violence, and I think we're very ready to give them violence. We're very ready to have a conversation with them, and nonetheless, we're very ready to extend the conversation to where they want it to go.
That's whenever I see the struggles that we are facing, I deeply cry. Like I cry. It's painful to see how hard we are trying, and here we are, we don't have financial support. We are just on ourselves. So NSFAS is also cutting numbers of people they fund. It's very painful. It's very challenging. So, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Our network tonight is very bad. I can see even on my site, it's bad, it's bad, bad, bad. I don't know what's going on. Can you try to request me again, my brother? Our network is very bad. So it's network problems. It's network problems. It's network problems. Network tonight. Hey, our network tonight is very bad. I can see even on my site, it's very bad tonight.
Yeah, no, sorry for being disconnected.
No, it's okay. I can see the network. So we are here crying helplessly. What is the greatest challenge that you are having in higher education and training?
Okay, so the greatest challenge that I see, besides the fact that the people who are sitting in the Ministry of Higher Education and Training lack the will to envision a country where there is free education, right? They lack the vision to envision a country where the students don't have to fight every year in order to get access to higher learning. But the biggest problem that we have is the problem of infrastructure, right? Ever since the New Dawn, ever since the democracy has hit our shores, I think maybe a handful of universities have been built by the government, if not less, right? And the number of people who are entering or are eligible to enter institutions of higher learning has increased in democracy after 1994, right? You find a large number of people that qualify, that get a bachelor's pass, but there's no space in universities. But there is an issue of financial funding when they go to universities. So it's a whole country problem, right? And it goes back to affect higher learning and institutions of higher learning, because if you don't give our parents, for example, me and your parent, Marcelo, job opportunities in order for them to earn a living, it means that they won't have money for us to go to university, when we are eligible to go to university. So there is a financial crisis that is happening in higher institutions of learning, but it stems from how our society is built, right? It stems from our parents getting minimum wage, that on its own, it's not able to sustain the family, but it is accepted to, they are expected to take a kid through university, right? So you are expected to go to a township school, a government school from grade 1 to grade 12. And then afterwards, you're expected to pay 50,000 for a course. You're expected to pay an additional 50,000 for you to go to get accommodation, an additional 20,000 for you to get meals or to sustain yourself. So there is a financial problem that stems from the inequality of the past. But I am now going to give critique to the ANC government for not actually envisioning a country where the economic standing of the people are that they will be able to afford things that are away from the basics, right? Education is a basic, yes, but at this point it's seen as a luxury that can be afforded to people who only have money. So if you change the overall setting, if you make sure that people are employed, if you make sure that a family gets enough money, right, not a minimum wage of 20 Rand an hour, a proper minimum wage, that they can be able to pay for their kids' university if needs be. If you make sure that the country realizes truthfully what free education is, then you wouldn't have so many problems at the beginning of the year in the learning institutions, higher learning institutions. But as I have started by saying, the infrastructure problem is really a problem. There are no universities that have been built. There are no TVET colleges that have been built. And the ones that exist are very undercapacitated. It's only a UCT, Wits University, Stellenbosch University, University of Pretoria that will have good facilities, that will have, all the resources that they need, because they're previously white universities. But in a democratic South Africa, we still see TVET colleges being under-resourced, very under-resourced. You go to some universities even look like high schools, man, and it's not even a joke. You know, very under-resourced. The infrastructure is not taken care of. There's not enough money that goes into making sure that infrastructure is being built and that more universities are being built in the country so that the large number of people that are eligible to go to university increases and they get accepted there. So infrastructure is really a problem. On top of infrastructure, yes, the funding into higher learning institutions is a problem. And the funding itself comes with many more other problems. So if there's one thing that I would, judge the Department of Higher Learning and Education with, I'll judge them for the lack of imagining a higher learning institution that is, accessible to the large majority of the country. Them lacking the imagination to even building capacity to get more skilled people in our country, right? There's a talk of the transition to also the fourth industrial revolution. Where are those people going to get skilled from, The universities that we have currently on their own are full to capacity. We fight every year to increase capacity of people, that are accepted in the universities. They should build more universities, capacitate the universities that you have currently. Make sure that higher learning is seemed to be, as important as grade 1 to grade 12. Make sure that many of your people are attending to a skilled majority so that you use them as resources to build a future South Africa. Besides that, there's nothing we can do. You still import people from Cuba to come and fix engineering problems. You import people from Cuba to come and fix health problems in the country. When South Africa is seemed to be one of the greatest countries in the continent. And that all stems from the higher learning institutions department not being taken serious. You bring back people like Bob Lady and Zimanda who have shown you before that they fail to imagine a higher learning institution where, it will be very effective, where everything will go according to plan. And when there is a national mandate to say educate as many people as possible, we pay billions and millions to import people. I just saw now that people are coming from Cuba to come and fix problems in the country. You can have a South Africa where the people who come from university are so skilled that other countries want to take them to their countries in order to assist with world problem. You can't have that here. Not in this country. Not when you still have Bob Lady and Zimande sitting as the ministry, the Minister of Higher Education and Training. So our biggest problem, my brother, is the infrastructure problem, is the financial problem, and there's also another problem of actually what are we learning from these institutions of higher learning, right? That's another conversation of decolonizing. That's another conversation of saying, what is South Africa's actual plan? What is South Africa's actual 10-year plan? What do we want to see from the people that we take out of university? And if we have that plan, we'll have even the joy from the private sector, the joy from the citizens to say, okay, we can even give you money in order for you to start. We can even give you money in order for free education to be accomplished, because there would have been a plan, and there would have been a plan of action as to how our department or the Department of Higher Education and Training wants to see in the next 5 or 10 years. So there is a serious lack of imagining, and that's why we have this problem year in and year out.
Because of time, we started 10 minutes later, and because of network problems, we started 10 minutes late. So can we just go beyond by 10 minutes and try to cover up everything?
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, so you have raised an issue which even last when I was speaking to Abu Bonga, he also raised the same problem to say, you see, and something that also I have noticed is, to say since the 1994, the black government took over, I have never heard of any institution of higher learning and training that has been built by this government. I'm looking forward to see a South Africa where when the president delivers SONA, he will say, for this year, we are planning to build this number of universities. This year, we're planning to build this number of schools. You see, school. So this is the kind of South Africa I'm looking forward to see. You know, not only to say we have reserved money to raise 100,000 young entrepreneurs, it's a good thing, but also they need to include education. You see, a country that invests a lot in education, it's a wise country, because education is the foundation of everything. You know, it's very disappointing that in high school we don't use computers. We don't use from the school that I have attended, we don't have in Wattville, there's an old computer lab. We don't have access to it. So you have never used a computer before. You come to Wits, they give you a computer which has how can I call it, which is a small computer, if I put that way, to in lack of a better way. In saying that, why am I saying it's a small computer? It doesn't give you an access to do things the way other students across the world that are using. You know, some students are using computers which are iMacs, for an example. So we come to Wits, they give you a small computer, a laptop, you are doing film and television. You have to install Adobe After Effects. It's a powerful software. So when you do that, this thing is going to crash. When it crashes, you need to pay for it, you see. So technologically, our government need to put education also in that criteria. They need to invest in a way to say we need to train our students to know a lot about technology, because we are going to fourth industrial revolution. We cannot go there not knowing anything about technology. You see, we come to Wits, that this kind of data that they give us, state data, which is 10 gig for any time, 20 gig for night data. And that data, it doesn't even go to YouTube, my friend. They upload a pre-recorded video, some on YouTube. You need to access them. You cannot access them. If during these holidays you go home, you have no means to access those resources. You see, but same data. You need a student. They can access YouTube, internet. To us, you go to Canvas, you go to Microsoft, then it's child. So you have no other thing to do. So this is the problem that we are facing. Today, I was listening to President Cyril Ramaphosa and leader Julius Malema. You know, these two people were speaking, and I love what Julius Malema said. He said, what type of freedom is this? Freedom without water, without basic needs. What type of freedom is this without food? You see, we voted for left to control the economy. He said, you know, the revolution has taken place, yet the oppressors lost nothing. You see, these are some of the powerful statements that he has mentioned. And when you look at it, this is what we are facing. He said, there is no freedom in South Africa. There was just an exchange of seeds. You see, you know, when he said that, I said to myself, you know, whatever this man is eating, for him to have this kind of wisdom, I need to eat it also, you know. I need this kind of wisdom too. You see, we are today, what kind of freedom is this? We don't have our basic needs. This is it comes to free education. So in saying that, my brother, I would like to say to you, the Minister of Higher Education and Training, do you maybe think that he has failed us, you know, as students?
Minister Blayden Nzimande has failed us for 2 terms, my brother. He really has. Seriously, really has. And in his own words, at some point, even uttered, the students must fall. You know. So, and if you actually also see the trend, is that it seems like every time he's the minister, there has to be a huge uproar in the country. Universities and TVET colleges take to the streets. 2015-16 fees must fall. He was still the Minister of Higher Education and Training. And then he came back for second term. In 2021, we see something very similar, right? And the protests just don't come from anywhere. Minister Blade Nzimande is the same minister that was prepared to let 20,000 UNISA students go home and not study for the academic year 2021. His ministry, he advised UNISA to cut down the intake by 20,000 students. Those are 20,000 families that would have, wanted their kids to go to university, get a proper education, and hopefully be something in the future. Minister Blade Nzimande was prepared to send 20,000 students from UNISA home. It is only through a court battle between the EFF Student Command and the Department of Higher Learning that the 20,000 students got to be, reinstated inside UNISA. If we hadn't won that battle, 20,000 students would have been at home now, as we speak. The minister and the Ministry of Higher Learning and Technology, under Blade Nzimande again, advised universities and TVET colleges to increase fees this year by 4.5%, something along those range. Minister Blade Nzimande advised universities to increase fees when we all know that the economy of the country retracted by approximately 7% in 2020 because of the COVID-19 pandemic. And you advise universities to increase, fees. And he's called a communist by those who know him. But I think he's failed us beyond measure. He's failed us beyond measure. When our parents have lost jobs, when our parents have lost jobs, this man wants the universities to increase fees. NFSAS, we see now that NFSAS doesn't have funds. It's overburdened by this, sure.
Yeah, it's a very challenging moment to all of us living in this country. I am coming from a high school in Wattville called Etoto Secondary School, where I was paying 120 per annum and buying two packets of Typex. So I come to university, they expect me to pay this a huge sum of money that even my father, he has never seen that kind of money, you see. Where that kind of money? So in saying that, being a black child and being poor, does that mean that we are less privileged to education and we are restrictively having rights to free to education?
Yeah, no, that's true. Education is a privilege now, my brother. If you are black and if you are poor, you won't get access to institutions of higher learning. It's very rare. You only find us using NFSAS. And as I continue from my last point, that NFSAS on its own, we saw under Blade Nzimande that there's courses that are going to be defunded, that have been defunded, including nursing and education, that have been defunded from TVET colleges to universities, courses that are not going to be paid for. And if you look at the N courses, N7, equivalent courses, and all of those courses that were written down, teaching, nursing, that were written down in that press output by NFSAS to say that they are not going to be funded anymore. All of those courses are majority courses that are taken by black and poor students. Black and poor students, you'll find them in nursing, you'll find them in teaching, you'll find them in TVET college.
So one day I'm looking forward to see a better
primary to high school, being in public schools, working day in and day out, not eating from the feeding scheme, not having proper resources for us to, not even having a computer in the school, not even having a science lab. not having enough textbooks, having to share a textbook with someone else.
Yeah.
So we've survived all of those things from grade 1 to grade 12. And when you get to university, when you get your bachelor's pass and you are ready to go to university, there is this thing called tuition fees that is so huge. And that creates a blockage. And that is why we hold the view of saying we're not going to be free unless we have financial freedom, economic freedom. Because you are told you can go to every university you want to. The world is your oyster. Just study. You know, education is the key to success. You do all of those things very nicely. But when you get to after matric, you find where you have to pay in order for you to get all of these things that you've been told that you should be getting. In order for you to go to university, you have to pay. So it's a privilege of the rich. In South Africa, education is a privilege of the rich and a privilege of those who can get funding from somewhere else. And it's very evident. And it goes back to your question of whether or not Minister Nzimande has failed students. He's failed students with his friend who is the CEO of NFSAS, Andile Nongoko. He's failed students before. Andile failed students when he was still in nursing. He failed students. He's still failing students now. The defunding of students shows truly what you are saying now, to say is higher learning institution access a privilege of the wealthy? And it is. If you are black and poor, you are not going to get educated in this country unless you fight, unless you try by all means. And it doesn't look like it's getting better. When we thought we had won from FISMA's fall to get, NFSAS as a bursary, now we are told that there are courses that are not going to be paid for by NFSAS. You see NFSAS saying we don't have enough money, so we're going to cut back on the funding. It means more black people have to go back home. More black people have to go back to their communities, to the township. You have to go and stand at the robot and wash windows. You have to go and show cars where to park. You have to go and work at Pick and Pay, at ShopRite. You have to go, and that's if you are even lucky to get a job. Looking at the economy of South Africa and looking at the unemployment rates. So slowly but surely, it seems like there's a mission of getting less and less black and poor students inside universities. And all of this happens under the Ministry of Lady Nzimande. The defunding of NFSAS pushed a lot of us away. If you don't have funding, you're not going to get, you're not going to get to be a student, unfortunately. So, in answering your question again, I'm sorry for going around in circles, my brother. It just angers me, this conversation.
Yeah, it's an emotional thing. Understand?
Yeah, it is the privilege of the wealthy. Education is the privilege of the wealthy in South Africa. And our only solution is free education. Yeah. And day in, day out, that's what we preach. And year in, year out, that is what we are going to preach. Until I don't know what, until we have, found a true free education in the country. Because there's a lot of deserving, there's a lot of brilliant young people that are stuck in communities that we come from, that can't come to university because of funding. So let's kill this funding giant and make sure that as many people get access to education.
Yeah, I really appreciate that, my brother. As we are going beyond, actually, we are going nearer to our conclusion. I would just, because of network problems, I have seen many people are leaving, and coming. Now we are left with few people. Network tonight is a challenge. So anyone who has a question, this is your platform. Can you ask that question and let us address it? Whatever question that you have, ask the question. We are here to answer your question. While we are still waiting for your question, I would like to ask you, my brother, to say, what are your words to Wits Council as we continue with the combat of free education? No.
I'm so disappointed in the Council of Wits. I'm so disappointed in the Council of Wits. I'm so disappointed in the Vice Chancellor, Zeblon. I'm really disappointed. And my message to them is to say that the situation has not changed, right? The things that we have asked for in our memorandum of demands, we had asked that every student be allowed to register in the university. And they basically said no. They created all of these runaround systems of hardship, of finding eligibility, of creating criteria. When we were saying allow every student to register, from the SRC side, there was even a fund, 21 million 2021. That shows that, you know, the SRC was willing to help the university raise the amount of money for students to come back, but they didn't even meet us halfway. There was a conversation of saying, please match every rand that we make inside 21 million 2021 campaign. So if Simon invests 10 rand, the university should also invest 10 rand or 5 rand, so that we get many students to come back to university. And they didn't do that. So I'm very disappointed in how they've dealt with the student body speaking to them. I'm very disappointed in how they've dealt with the whole academic year of 2021. I had expected a lot from Wits University, but they are very disappointing. Students are still not registered. Not every student is allowed to register. We still get calls even now with students wanting to, you know, come back to the university. Residences are still closed off to students. Students are not allowed to come back to these residences, even after we've told the university or online learning needs you to have proper internet connection, needs you to have electricity, you know, needs you to have, you know, the right atmosphere, needs you to be close to a library, needs you to also be close to the people that you study with at some point. Allow students to come back to res. The university still said no. At the beginning of the protest, we had even said, look, cut down the 75% fees that you are expecting from international students, especially the ones that are coming from Africa, because the whole country has been hit by a pandemic. They can't raise the 75% upfront fee payment, but they will be in the country, they'll be studying nonetheless. The funding issue will be spoken about later on. Still, they were expected to pay that money. Many of them couldn't come back to the country and study. We said the students that are supposed to be registering, that are supposed to be graduating and owe money should be allowed to graduate, should be given their degrees, their honors, their masters qualification, so that they go and find employment and they'll pay you back later on. The university still said no. So throughout the whole process, throughout us protesting, sending in memorandum of demands, the university has been very unresponsive. What they did actually was to ensure that security is beefed up inside campus, spending more money on security, the money that could have been spent to allow students to come back to register. What they did was to call the police on us, and it resulted in an unfortunate death of Mthokozi Sintumba in Braamfontein. They outsourced state violence, and they built their own state violence inside the university to come and fight students who were saying, allow us to study. We are in a very, you know, uncomfortable position in the year of 2021. Allow us to study. The protests have even started way long ago. Like, the conversation started way long ago. When we were speaking as the SRC with the Vice Chancellor of the university last year, before we got inducted, after we had been, you know, in the SRC, we told him that we see such problems happening. We told him there's going to be a problem of funding when you go to 2021. There's going to be a problem of accommodation when you go into 2021. There's going to be a problem of graduating, you know. But he acted like he heard us. But we saw nothing that is changing. Even with the Minister of the Deputy Minister of Higher Education, Buti Manamela, we met with Buti Manamela last year as the SRC, and we told him these problems, to say the whole country is going to be facing such problems, and would like for your department to start working on these solutions now. We even gave possible solutions to the problem, but we see nothing that has happened. So I'm very disappointed in the Wits Council, but shame, they've already been disappointing us, and it now shows students are really on their own. It's only through our mass, it's only through our power to mobilize each other and voice out our issues that we're going to be heard. There's no university that is going to save us at this point. The Ministry of Higher Education should just come and make sure that all the issues of students are addressed.
Yeah, I really appreciate your time, my brother, for coming here I feel humbled to have you. You're a man who has wisdom, and I see where you get such. By the way, you're a member of CFF, so you see.
In good standing, my brother.
Um, um, this is the quote that President Cyril Ramaphosa said today. He said, "The 1994 promise is still not fulfilled. True freedom remains elusive for Maine." This is his
After 27 years, imagine.
he said, "We have leadership that is stealing state resources, which is a crime against our people. But we are seeing state capture. No one so far has been held accountable. By seeing a lot of things that are happening." He continued to say, "Still, the leadership that we have, they steal the resources that belong to our people and put them in their own pockets, which is happening every day. And where we are as students is the result of these tenders that they are spending mine recklessly, if I put in that way. Recklessly, person needs 250 million alone. Yo, what a great person. So this money should be invested in our education, but they're just playing like a football around the team themselves, you see. So I really appreciate, I hope the government one day will listen to us and answer us. And since Minister Isma Hashulu took that petition, he has never responded until today. So we don't know, maybe he has put that thing in a dustbin and it went off. He never looked at all the demands. You'll never know. That's my thinking. So I really appreciate for coming here. This is the responsibility of everyone, whether you are in high school or primary school. When you come to university, one day you will see the atrocity that we are facing here. You will see where this anger and disappointment is coming from, because one day you will deal with it. In saying that, my brother, in 30 seconds, what is your last message?
Vote EFF. Vote out the ANC government. Yeah, but to be truthful, like our destiny is going to be determined by us, right? The young people of the country need to be serious about the things that they want and the things that they deserve. The old people that we find in government positions have no repercussions to face in the future. The decisions that are taken today are the decisions that are going to stay with us and that are going to stay with our children going forward. So we have to be active participants in shaping the narrative and shaping the direction of the country. In every aspect or in every field that we find ourselves in, we should take charge as young people. We should be the ones that voice out our issues. We should be the ones that are in the forefront of speaking about our issues, either being unemployment, either being education problems, either being social ills that we are seeing outside. We are the ones that are supposed to be voicing out our problems. We are the ones that are supposed to be championing our own struggle. And we should stop giving old politicians the proxy of using our struggles as a political football or as political leverage to say, I have young people, so I'll speak on their behalf. We will speak on our behalf. That's what is supposed to happen in businesses, in state-owned entities, in government, everywhere where we are. We should just take up space and make sure that we voice out. We have nothing to lose at this point. We're very young, we're very energetic. So we should use our energy to shape the future, to shape South Africa for the best.
I really appreciate for coming, my brother. We will be in touch. I have a message for you. Can you remain in after I remove you here? I really appreciate everyone for coming here. It's a great honor for me. Listen, this is the responsibility of everyone. Write books about the kind of challenges that we are going for, we are facing. Whenever you conduct interviews, speak about the challenges that the Department of Education is facing. So in saying that, if this government was formed, I can say it was a white government, I would understand saying that they don't understand the part of the struggles that we're facing. But fortunately, it's a black government, people who have faced what you are facing, but they are still there in power. They have forgotten of where they are coming from. They have forgotten that they have been where we are today. They have been there. They know the kind of struggle. They know that financially we are not stable. We are not strong as the state expect us to be, to afford all those kind of money. So we are saying we really appreciate the effort that has been put to ensure that today we have a freedom country, where one of the great successes that they have ensured is to ensure that there is a freedom whereby we have a freedom to vote. So as the many leaders have said today, if you don't like this kind of leader, vote them out. So I would like to say we are going to elections on the 27th of October, if I'm not making a mistake. These are elections. So go and vote for whoever you want and desire to lead you. Someone that you trust that this one will listen to what you're going through. So be a responsible citizen. This thing of free education, it's not only about the state only. It's about us taking the responsibilities. And some of the responsibilities is to ensure that we vote, is to ensure that we initiate charity organizations. We start and we go up in life. We are millionaires. We forget to fund those students who are struggling in universities, who can afford education. Just imagine, we are millionaires today. We've forgotten that there's a lot of Black children who cannot even have bread. They sleep with empty stomach in universities. So we just need to take initiatives as Black to say, I want to see a Black child succeeding. So I really appreciate. I hope the message does go to right people. I will upload this video on YouTube. I really, really, really pray that this message, the right people who have solutions to our problem, does listen to this. From myself, I am Marcel Simon, the voice with sense. I will see you next week, same day, same time. This is the platform whereby we say, as Black as we are, as poor as we are, we want to be successful one day. And the only way for us is to be successful is when we are educated. This is the platform whereby we come and cry to the state to say, we are Black, we are poor, we are disadvantaged, we have been oppressed for so many long time. Please listen to us, give us an opportunity. We are not asking for man to go and smoke weed. We are not asking for man to go and party with women or with boys. We are not asking for man to go and do all these lousy things, but we are asking for man to go and study. Don't give us cash. That's what we are asking. Don't give us cash. Give us free education. Don't give us cash. Pay for our studies. This is what we want. So this is the platform whereby we come and cry to the state to say, please have mercy on us. We want to be successful one day. Whenever I see every Black child, I see the minister of education, I see the minister of finances, I see the minister, whoever minister you can imagine, I see the future president. So we are trying to say we want to be leaders who are educated, leaders who knows more about technology, leaders who have that access, to know more about the world that we live in. So go out there and ensure that you raise awareness about what you are going through. You prepare those young people at tertiary about these challenges that we are in, so that they don't have to imagine that varsity is just this kind of paradise that they come and flee from the problems that are facing in their community. They're still going to face a lot if our government doesn't respond to our struggle. Good night. This is the voice with sense. Bless you.